If chapters don't work, I'm pinning a comment with timestamps so you can skip to the part of the video that interests you instead of watching the entire thing. First things first, config file doesn't really allow you to do things like turn off depth of field or anti-aliasing or change to direct 11. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get to the point. Textures, like always, don't hit your performance unless you're getting to the VRAM limit. In that case, you have no other option but to drop them lower. In this game, you won't be able to really see any difference between highest and lowest value in texture filtering, but can get 1% if you set it on low. Lighting quality should honestly be just called shadows, cause that's the only thing it really affects. If you care about the looks of the game, I'd set it to high, while low is the best option from visibility standpoint. I don't really know what effects quality does, but since it gives you performance even in places where you can't really see anything around you, my guess would be volumetric fog. In any case, set it on low cause there is no visual difference. The only thing that you're going to notice from post-processing is screen space reflections. For quality mode, I recommend setting them to high, and for visibility, drop all the way down to low, so the only reflections left are cube maps. Mesh quality affects mostly vehicles, trees, rocks, and some less important geometry. Stick to ultra for quality and set it to low for visibility, since all affected geometry gets smaller when far away. Terrain quality is mostly visible on ground with high level of detail, and that's where you're getting the most performance. But even in scenarios where you can't see any difference, you're still going to get FPS boost. In any case, I'm recommending low setting here, since even on highly detailed terrain, you won't really tell the difference while playing. Undergrowth changes grass and some smaller bushes. For visibility, set it to low, and quality probably stick with ultra, since high only gives you 1% more FPS. And just in case you wonder, for example, this setting could give you as high as 15% FPS boost on certain grass heavy maps, but on others where there is no grass at all, you're obviously going to get nothing. That's why these numbers, all the numbers you see here, are averaged across all the maps. Setting anti-aliasing to low won't really diminish its quality, but what it is going to give you is way less ghosting on certain surfaces. Basically, always set it to low. I think that HBAO full is an overkill, so for quality mode set to HBAO, for visibility turn it off. Although on the other hand, forced TAA combined with HBAO introduces insane amount of ghosting on surfaces affected by ambient occlusion, so just decide for yourself if you can live with that. On average, I wouldn't really recommend DLSS in a PvP game simply because it requires TAA to work, but since this game already forces TAA on you, I'm feeling good recommending quality preset for that extra 17%. Chromatic aberration, film grain, vignette, and lens distortion are the kind of things that you should always turn off without even thinking about it. Especially chromatic aberration, since in this game is way too overtuned. Blurs the image more than TAA does. Motion blur in a PvP shooter is obviously a no-go, and on top of that, you're going to get extra performance out of turning it off. So there you go. Well, maybe not if you're sitting on top of a roof with a sniper rifle pointed at the same spot for the entire game. In that case, no performance boost for you. Turning ray traced ambient occlusion on has a huge impact on performance, especially considering that it's not even all that much better looking than HBAO, so do not turn it on. Well, okay, it fixes the ghosting problem that HBAO has. The higher you go with FOV, the more frames you lose. It's nothing crazy, so you shouldn't really pay any attention to it while deciding your FOV, but I just had to mention it. Of course, if you have NVIDIA GPU, turn on reflex. And one more thing, high fidelity objects amount basically has nothing to offer in terms of performance. That is until your CPU is not getting hammered. If it is, you can drop this setting for some extra free cycles. The lower you go, the more of this you are going to notice while playing. Overall, with quality optimized settings, you could get around 34% performance boost at almost no visual difference, while visibility settings are going to boost your FPS by extra 51% compared to Ultra preset. Additionally, if you still want to improve your visibility, you could use NVIDIA filters, but for the love of all the gods, I beg you, don't just crank up sharpness. Clarity is way better. It diminishes all sorts of fogs and other volumetric effects. After that, you can add some sharpness if you still want it.